Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chicken Rehab. I'm so glad to have you checking out what we're up to today. If you are new here, this is something I do with my husband Chris. We take thrift store found items and we remake them, make them over, give them new life, and we share the process and our vision with you all here on our channel. So in today's video, I am super excited. Oh my gosh, I am participating in Cory of Desert DIY. She has thrown out a ugly duckling challenge, and oh, when she threw this challenge out, I knew exactly. We had actually, God wink moment, just picked up a free marketplace find. Yes, it was free. Not often do I get to have a marketplace find, and especially that it is free. In our area, you have to jump on marketplace quickly, and yeah, you have to grab it quickly or it is gone fast. So just happened to come in from the workshop having some lunch and noticed a post by a friend actually who was giving away a piece of furniture for free. It was out of her dad's estate, so just wanted to get rid of it. And oh, well, though you all might think it is an ugly duckling, we knew exactly what we envisioned right as soon as we saw this piece. So I don't know about you guys, when we see a piece of furniture, we see an item, usually automatically I see the vision. So when I saw this outdated, unwanted, broken down, I think it had been dropped hutch, I thought, oh my gosh, it's got good bones. Showed it to Chris. He thought the same vision I did was a coffee bar. So this is what today's video is all about. We are transforming this ugly duckling that we found on Marketplace for free, and we are transforming it into a beautiful, up-to-date coffee bar. Coffee bars sell really well in our area, so when we run across a piece of furniture that we can make into a coffee bar, oh, am I excited about that. Oh, this is a challenge, as I said. This is the Ugly Duckling Challenge hosted by Cory of Desert DIY. And I hope that there's a lot that participated in this challenge. I am always so in awe of all the YouTubers out there and how they flip this unwanted, outdated, broken down furniture and give it new life. So there is a playlist down in my description box who all participated, and Cory will be picking out a winner, so make sure you comment on each and every one of our videos and give us a thumbs up so she can check us out and see who will end up with this ugly duckling winner.
So here it is. Now you can see that it has the extra storage, those cabinets down below. It's got a couple shelves, one's not on right now, but just some good bones. It is a nice, sturdy, and very heavy piece. So who couldn't use extra storage? But I'm not really a big fan of that chunky hardware, that big add-on pieces, and definitely that back paneling is way outdated. And as you see, I think it took a roll or something. It definitely has been dropped at one time or another, or when they were moving it to sell it. I'm not really sure, but those are all superficial things that definitely can be fixed. So let's get this taken apart. Let's get all those doors off so we can assess if we can remove that hardware and those big chunky wood that is making it definitely outdated. And of course we got to go back in and remove those hinges. Now luckily the back part is in great shape. Other than having the outdated paper on the front, this is a nice solid piece of paneling. So Chris is going in and removing the staples, trying to get it unattached, but hopefully being able to salvage and be able to reuse this piece. And as you can see, that very lower bottom piece is cracked, so after removing yet again some more of the staples that held that back piece on, he'll have to get that removed. Let's see if those big chunky hardware pieces, those door pulls, come off this cabinet. The spackling knife, he was able to remove that big chunky piece of wood off the front of this door to be able to update it. Unfortunately, it's one of those, oh my gosh, I didn't turn on the camera moments. But as you can see, it did leave a little bit of a hot mess behind. Not an easy task to get it to come off, but it did come off. So now he's going to go in with some Durham water putty and fill in where it kind of gouged on the wood, any of those holes that were left behind. If you're new to seeing Durham water putty, it is a wood filler. So it is a powder that you mix with water. You mix the ratio for each product. You can mix it thin, you can mix it thick. It just all depends on what you're using it for. And like the container says, it dries rock hard and it is definitely sandable. So if you're in redoing furniture, I highly suggest this because it is very cost efficient. So now he's flattened it out to what he can and then kind of formed it around that molding. He needs to walk away and let it dry. So after letting it sit overnight, he's going to go in and do the details first. He's going to work with just some sandpaper, some 220 sandpaper. Try not to rough up the other edges that don't have the Durham water putty on and just work out. That's why you want to spend the time to make it as smooth as you can while you're putting it on. That way you don't have to sand quite as much. For the flat edge, then he can go in and he can go to town using the orbital sander. But for the edging, that's just one of those that you have to do with your little hand detail piece. But yep, now he's just working and making sure that these fronts are nice and smooth, that you didn't even know that piece of hard wood, massive piece of wood that was on the front of this door was even there. Now we had to cut a new piece of wood for that bottom that was split and broken, adding a little tight bond glue to those edges to make sure that it's going to have a good tight fit. This is probably a little bit stronger wood that was on there to begin with. And now a couple brad nails and some clamps to keep it in place, and then some more brad nails on the other side. That way that you know that it's going to be good and square as you're tightening it down. So now that he has a good base for this piece of molding, he can go in with some more tight bond glue and get that brad nailed back in also. Now to really tie the front of this piece in together, that molding on the top and the bottom is just kind of hanging out there. So he's going to add a piece of corner molding to the sides. That's just going to make it look a little bit more beefy and kind of tie that molding that was on the bottom and top a little bit more together. And yes, of course, it's going to help hide where it was dropped and that is damaged. Now the shelves that were in this cabinet were more of like a bookshelf type of shelf, but what he's going to do is he's making a lower shelf, something that you can have some little cubby boxes or some little baskets, something that you can put your coffee cups, your coffee Keurig cups if you want. So that's what he's doing here, is he's just measuring out to see where he needs to put that next shelf, having the piece of wood that's going to hold that shelf in place. Now it's definitely transforming into something other than that outdated cabinet. So at this stage, it's all put together. You fix the doors with the Durham water putty, but now you got all these little brad nail holes, all these little gaps, anything that was cracked that had been glued. So now he needs to go in with some spackling and fill all these little bitty brad nail holes, any little spots that when painting the piece is just going to make it pop. So they need to be filled in. And for these little bitty holes like this, that spackling is wonderful, that pink that turns white, because then you know that it's dry and you can go in and sand it. Wow, that was a lot of prep on this piece, but well worth it for your finished paint job to look awesome. So now he's just getting the piece all cleaned with using some Superclean, getting it all wiped down, getting any of that grime, grease, anything that will prevent your paint from sticking cleaned off. So if you are checking our channel out for the first time, one of our signature looks I will guess is unique to Ginger Chick, that we like to paint the edges of our furniture pieces black. We like to distress our pieces, and so the black is the color that we like to see through. This piece is going to be white at the end, and so when you go to distress all those details on this piece, that black is going to show through and really make those details pop. But now, just so you don't sand the black off, you need to seal the black in with something. So we're going to use a little bit of the polycrylic, and that's going to act as a top coat. So when we go to sand that, we're just not sanding all the way through that black. So part of our furniture flipping, when we built our workshop a year ago, we decided that we definitely needed to have some type of a spray room in it because we live in Michigan and we want to be able to spray year round. So this is a little peek of our setup. We do have a shop tour on our channel, but this is the Graco sprayer that we're going to be using to spray this cabinet. One thing about this Graco sprayer is that the hose needs to be put in a gallon of slightly watered down paint. So our paint choice is the Kills Paint and Primer Run. It's a ready-to-use grab off the shelf at our local Walmart. We are still blessed that our Walmart is still carrying it. Absolutely love the color of white that it is and love the coverage that it has when applied. So Chris has actually made up some rolling carts that we can roll these pieces in. We have a couple different contraptions to be able to roll them into our spray room. So sometimes the pieces have to be set on their side because we do have a coverage height, and this piece just makes it. Well, it just makes it if I remove the pieces of wood that we were lifting it up off the cart with. Now after 2 coats of the white being sprayed, now the piece can be flipped over and get the other areas that you did not get with that first coat. First 2 coats, that is. Now sometimes you get a piece that gets what they call bleed through, where it yellows your white paint. Now, there is a couple different options, like what we're doing here. We're taking a can of shellac spray, spraying 1 coat on, letting that dry, spraying a 2nd coat on again to the areas that have yellowed. Now, if you are definitely sure that that's going to do it at the beginning, they do sell a primer that has shellac in it, but since we like to distress our edges and already pre-painting the black, that's why we usually wait to do just the spray can. Then of course now you got to go back in and give it a couple more coats, but you can definitely tell as he's spraying here what I mean by that yellowing. Now we usually let our pieces completely dry overnight before proceeding to sand them. So now this is that time-consuming task of making sure that your paint is all nice and smooth. And now he's taking some 220 sandpaper on all those edges, letting that black pop through, the black that we sprayed on and then put a top coat on, and that we painstakingly took the time to make sure it was going to show through this white. So just a little bit of sandpaper, and depending on how hard you push down your sandpaper, if you push really hard, you can probably get it down to the wood if that's a look you're looking for, that you want a little bit of the wood and you want a little bit of the black. But usually we just try to just sand so we see the black. And for the flat surfaces, he has some 320, I believe, sandpaper on his orbital sander. And what he's doing is just lightly letting it be on there, not pressing down hard, just making sure that that piece is nice and smooth. And then he'll just work his way around the entire cabinet. Now to finish this piece up, if you heard me say before that we used Kills paint and primer, so it is good and on there. So now we're going to go ahead and wax the entire piece. And our go-to usually is the Varathane finishing wax that we get at our local Home Depot. Absolutely love the stuff. It's just a wipe on. You can apply it with a rag, you can apply it with a waxing brush, and then you just go back through and wipe off the excess and let it dry. So now this is where I come in. If you're wondering what part of Ginger Chick, we do flips. We do thrift store flips. So we do everything from small to the big items. So Chris is usually the one that takes control of the furniture because he's the one that knows how to fix it. And then I do the small items. But when it comes to the detail, here I am. One day when I was in Walmart picking up some of the Kills white paint that we're using today, I stumbled across these clearance items. I'm like, yes, please, $9 a piece. There was 3 of them on clearance, and I thought, oh my gosh. So finally found something I thought they would just look wonderful on. Just a little bit of detail. I've done a couple other pieces using some peel and stick wallpaper, so I knew these were a great accent to this coffee bar. Actually using about, well, half of it, so 3 of the pieces of this peel and stick. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to figure out how much I'm going to need, which is the 3.5 pieces. And I'm trying to see, I'm like, oh, I don't need to cut that off. That is where it peels off. So, yep, we're going to get right started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right off in the center, just like you would tile anything. You want that focal point in the center. Then now I need to cut this piece in half so I can lay both sides on either side of that center piece that I'd already laid. And apparently I didn't hit my on my camera. I'm so sorry. That gets so frustrating sometimes. So part of the Ginger Chick rehab team is that we are a team. So we're always helping each other out. And we actually have done a little bit of tiling before, so Chris jumped in and like, hey, I can do that reoccurring pattern. So he's helping me out. And I don't know why this was on clearance, because this was so easy to work with. I actually found this easier than the peel and stick wallpaper that I got off of Amazon. It did not seem to stretch as much as that wallpaper did by any means, and I was definitely able to easily match up that pattern. And yep, though I probably could have finished this up myself, if somebody wants to help you, you take their help. So yeah, being able to hold this little bit of piece up, somebody putting it in the corner, me holding it so it doesn't stick down, so you can move it around a little bit to get that pattern matching up. Always take somebody's help if they're going to offer. Oh my gosh, I would totally buy this again if I ever found it. But now I just have to go through and take an X-Acto knife and just cut it to that board. Now, a lot of times when Chris is putting a black back on something, he will put it on the table face down, but this had a lot of molding going on, so we decided that I would just hold it up for him and then he could get it nailed on. Now, when it came to it nailing onto the shelves, he had a little cheater piece of tape. It's not cheating, it's using your resources. That way that he doesn't just nail through the back and he's actually nailing into the shelf. That way those shelves are attached, the whole thing is square. It is a good solid piece. On this piece, it has those little metal pieces that go into the holes, the peg holes, to hold the shelf up. And if you're ever missing them, they do resell those. You can buy a nice size pack off of Amazon, though we do find sometimes the pieces vary in the sizes, but luckily we had some on hand because they always seem to be missing. So the thing about finding replacement for these doors, that the molding around it sticks very deep. It's pretty deep. It had that hard wood in there, that massive piece of wood, that big handle, and that way you could grab. So a regular little knob wasn't going to work. A pull handle wasn't really going to work either. But a God wink moment, because we had these two pieces of poles that dangle that you could grab with your finger and pull out, that we'd had from a previous piece of a dresser that we had done. So these were already painted black, and so yep, we are using these. I think these are a perfect fit and a perfect accent for this cabinet. He's just measuring where he needs to pre-drill the hole, and I have to tell you, I can't even tell, I don't even remember that all that stuff going on the front of these cabinet doors. Now let's get these doors back on this cabinet so we can see the final reveal. Oh, but wait, you need a little bit of a hole in the back if you want to use this as a coffee bar. So just drill the hole, and then we ordered these rubber gaskets off of Amazon to make it look like there's just not a hole sitting there.
Okay guys, so what did you think? Did you envision the same vision we had when you saw that hutch? Oh my goodness, yes. I knew that it was outdated. I knew that it had been dropped, but Chris came through and fixed it just like he always does. I have nothing but kind compliments, and I know he's my husband, so I should be complimenting him, but just an amazing piece. And actually, as I said, coffee bars sell really well in our area. Actually, we get asked a lot if we have any that we have. So this one actually sold to a coworker of mine right away. Usually I don't do that, but when you work with somebody for almost 30 years and they already buy your stuff and support you, heck yeah, she wanted to buy it for her daughter's new house and as a wedding gift. So perfect opportunity. And this guy was heavy, so it was kind of nice just loading it up and letting her take it away. So we ended up selling this piece for $325. I might have gave her a little bit of discount because she is like I said, she's a friend, she's a co-worker that I worked with for many and many of years. So, and it's her daughter's wedding gift. You know, when you work with somebody that long, you've raised your children together and you've seen it's okay to give a discount. So I thank you so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to watch all the other participants that participated in the Ugly Ducks Challenge, of course, along with Cory's of Desert DIY. And don't forget to comment and give us a like so she can kind of judge on who had the best flip. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and thank you for being part of our YouTube family. And if you were hopping over from somebody else's channel and you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a new video. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.